Start recording when I sit down.
Yeah.
Okay. This is very small. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. Hey everyone, welcome to the Live Love Artemis YouTube channel. We are your co-hosts, Becky Rinkevich and Raffaele Merlino, and today we have our fabulous Chief Operating Officer, Nina Royale, with us. We are an international real estate company based out of Philadelphia on a mission to educate, inspire, and serve in all things real estate.
Yes, and today we wanted to take you in to our business meeting. One of the things that we're most passionate about is listings. And the reason that is because we love marketing. We love putting things out there and sharing the beauty of a home and just the insight. And open houses are it's like showtime, right?
Yeah,
It's like getting on stage.
Yes.
So we're gonna walk you through. We already have a really awesome process, but we're looking to magnify it, especially right now with the new age of COVID. Things have changed. Nothing's the same. I don't think it'll ever be, to be honest with you. I don't think you're ever just gonna post an open house and be like, oh, just come through. I think things are gonna get regulated, having appointments, having a certain number of people. So join us through as we walk through this process. So let's start from the beginning. So open houses.
Yeah.
Obviously, we wanna make sure that every property is having a specific date of open houses. So why don't we start with what days we're gonna have our open houses on?
So what I found most effective is blasting your open house. If it's a weekend open house, whether it's Saturday or Sunday, the most effective day to blast it, in my experience, is on Thursdays. So Thursday mornings, because if you're putting it up on Monday and it's a Sunday open house, there's a whole week that's gonna go by that, things might come up in people's lives. They might say, oh, I'm gonna look forward to them with an open house, but then on Wednesday, something comes up with work or family member or a kid's event that they can't go to. So the closer it is, but giving enough window to plan I found is the most effective. So Thursday mornings is what I found. Because I think you're right. I probably used to post them on Mondays, but now that I'm thinking about it,
People forget.
who's thinking about you're not thinking about your open house plans on a Monday. Exactly. And when you update, so if it's a listing that has already been on the market for a little while and you add open house to the listing criteria in the MLS, it'll pop up on someone's news, like if they have an alert set up for it. So then that listing that might have otherwise been stale, gets fresh again right before the weekend. And then it's a great day that I like to put new listings on the market. If we do have an inventory of listings that we're waiting to put on the market, putting them on Thursdays and adding that open house aspect to the listing when it's listed. It's like a 2-for-1, like new listing and hey, we have an open house scheduled too, come see it.
I love that. I think that's huge.
Yeah.
So date is huge. The day though of the actual open house, I have found Sundays to be most effective.
Agreed.
So I'd say let's schedule our open houses for Sundays.
All for Sundays.
Yep. And then
Unless of course, didn't mean to interrupt, but
Yeah.
unless of course there's like a Super Bowl,
yes.
like Super Bowl Sunday or like,
And of course, you track holidays.
Yes.
So you'll be like, hey guys, you're not doing open houses this weekend.
Yes.
But I actually, this is a big mistake that I made. But when I first moved to Philly, I didn't realize the Eagles schedule. And when you live in the city of
Oh,
Philadelphia,
that's major.
so that's a huge
game day.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it would be funny because it was actually really funny. If I had them early in the morning, you'd have the husbands rushing in with their wives.
Like they have their jerseys on.
Yeah. I knew they're like, let's make this quick, so.
That's actually really good. That literally is a holiday here.
Uh-huh.
But it's funny that you mentioned Thursdays because my whole strategy was to do our weekly emails on Thursdays for that exact reason.
Perfect.
So for those of you listening in, also we're gonna have our monthly newsletter that's gonna come out beginning of every month. But then we're also gonna be having a weekly newsletter.
And if you want to be added to any of those, on the comments below, just add your email and and if you don't want to add your email, you just want to email us directly, it's what is it, Live
So you can visit our website and you can actually just put your email and all of your info into there and then we'll add you to our newsletter. So you will get a newsletter from us every single month and then also every single week on Thursdays.
Yep.
So the Thursday weekly newsletter, when they receive it, is actually going to show all of our new listing, anything that we sold, and then also open houses for that week.
Awesome.
So
I love that.
that's really the big game plan,
Yeah.
which is
That's
that
so fun.
aligns.
We planned that.
Yes, and our website for you guys, it's gonna be going live in August, but the
Yeah.
website address is www.liveloveartemis.com.
Yep. And so I think the next thing we walk into is obviously the marketing around the open house.
Yeah.
So, of course, we're going based on statistic and experience, based on highest and best traffic. Why open houses are important? Well, we utilize a strategy where we're listing later during the week, or we list it on Monday and we set it where it's almost as a coming soon, so that way you're holding all the traffic until the weekend. Why is that important? Well, when you're walking through as buyers and you see other activity happening, it's really important to see that other people are interested in the property. As a seller, it helps you get the house sold quicker. So there's still, because some people don't notice that there's showings that were happening all week. So they may be a buyer who's like, well, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of activity here.
When
Well,
in fact there was.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so, and if their realtor isn't calling to ask the right questions to the listing agent, they may not know that, and they may not know that they're missing out on an opportunity.
Yep.
So, I think that's, add that as a practice. And then in terms of marketing, so
Yeah.
what are we gonna do for that?
So I think obviously the main thing is getting it out on social,
Mhm.
right? So Instagram, Facebook, and I think that's something that we really have to start talking about is Facebook and Instagram ads.
Yeah.
That's major.
Yeah.
Because when we're talking about targeting the average person or just like anyone who's like living in the Philly area or surrounding areas, how in the world are we going to target them? The only way we can actually target them and make sure that they know that we have open houses to show them is if we start investing into Facebook and Instagram ads, as well as starting to consider Google AdWords as well. Because when we use those platforms, we're actually able to pick Philly area code and like how many miles out of this location do we think that someone will probably want to travel, right? If it's a house that we're selling that is in the city, chances are it's going to be people who are working in the city that are going to want to know that this is available, right?
Yeah.
If someone is living in the suburbs, we're probably not going to be targeting people in the suburbs for a home that we listed in the city,
Yeah.
right? So starting to maybe talk about how much money we're going to start investing
Yeah.
into each open house and what are we finding is the most effective to make sure that it's being seen by the people living in those communities.
Yeah, so I think that that's definitely something where what we've done is through a marketing budget for every property, coming out of the commission, so coming out of our earnings, what are we putting into the listing in order to market it? So that's definitely something where we can do a percentage ratio on each property. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was, is aside from what we pay for on social media, community pages on Facebook. So we want to make sure we're hitting up every single one of those. All the hashtags that you've created. Sure. All the hashtags that you've created. So, whatever it is, depending on, if it's, if it's based on specific neighborhoods and things of that sort. So, Beck, why don't we talk about what we're going to put actually in the listing? So what do we want like as marketing in the listing?
So for like in terms of description,
Or just in terms of like,
Just packaging, right?
I guess, what do we want? I mean,
I definitely want to know what's like happening in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like a fact sheet.
Yes, I really love fact sheets because if there's people that are relocating here, or maybe even not coming from far, maybe they're coming from the city and they're moving into the suburbs and school districts are really important. So we could do school district statistics, is it a blue ribbon rated school? How does it rank in terms of other school districts in the state? Student to teacher ratio, things like that. A lot of people are very interested in that. They're also interested if they have young kids, like where are some local preschools, are they faith-based preschools? I get a lot of questions about that people that aren't familiar with the areas. I really also love including utility information, because if you're on oil heat or if you're on electric, and it's depending on the square footage, it could really vary from what the cost is. So just having that overall cost, who the utility providers are, if it's on septic, is it well water, is it public utilities, And having that caution, it's just an extra added bonus of listing with us and having that whole package that buyers can be fully educated so they can make the best decision when writing offers on the property.
I'll say it's the one thing
That's a
that
really
you
good
do,
idea.
like, you do really well is you research extensively in the area, and you have always done your property descriptions. It's always like, it is, no, but it's good, because if you're not from the area, sometimes
How would you know?
sometimes you're writing, and like, we were just talking about this today, like, we just listed a commercial listing, and we're seeing like realtors, right, like, FAR, like all these like synonyms that like,
Industry, no one knows.
Industry targeting, yeah, that like,
We didn't even know, and we are the top agents in Philly. Like,
it was actually, and so I think it's about describing the property, so if somebody wasn't from the area, and sometimes even as a seller, so we get the experience from the seller of what it's like to live there, and I think if you capture that magic of like, oh, you'll ask someone, tell me a story about the home, and that, the romancing of telling the story of the home, I love including, right? Like, she used to wash her dishes and watch her kids playing, and the husband would be in the backyard, whatever that story was, I do think is important to include.
You know what you made me actually think about? So obviously, like, my husband and I are trying to buy our first home. And so we're constantly on Zillow looking up at like different homes, and like, so there was this property that popped up yesterday. And it's like this cute little home, and so he sends it to me, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh my god, like, this sounds a little too good to be true. Like, what's wrong with this home?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not understanding,
Right.
like, the price point. And then I go to look at the description, because I started to read descriptions more, because I'm like curious to see
What people write.
what people write. And I've noticed there's a very big difference in descriptions from different realtors.
Yeah.
People, and you can tell right away if someone thought through that description, or if they were just like, 3-bed, 2-bath, blah, 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 whatever. And then you're just like, okay, but you didn't tell me anything about the home.
Yeah.
And it
What
caught
is
my
it?
attention.
Yeah.
The description started off with, after living here for 34 years, working at Boeing,
Wow.
a couple basically spent their whole lives living in this home, bought it, and kind of like throughout the years worked on it, changing it, updating it. It still needs a little bit more updates, but that first sentence I can't get out of my head right now, because automatically I'm literally drawn to the story behind the house.
And you envisioned yourself spending 34 years in this place.
I was like, oh, well, that would make sense. I was like, they spent 34 years in here.
Right.
Okay, so like,
It's
that's
probably
what
well
we-
maintained. Yeah. That's amazing.
And so I just thought about
Yeah,
that,
how
like, when you
important
said
the
that,
story
the
of the
story
house
is. And I think,
Totally.
with marketing in general, like, why do certain companies sell, or why are people more in love with certain brands than others? It's because of the story.
Yeah, totally.
We were talking about that
Like,
this morning.
yeah.
I just ordered notepads from Emily Frisella.
Yeah.
And we're not buying the notepads because anyone can create the notepads. We're buying it from her because she has an amazing brand, she's an amazing person, she inspires a lot of people. We could buy the notepads from anywhere. And so it really is, it's about the story, it's about the person behind it, or the house behind it. So that's why it's really important.
Yeah.
So
So
think about like maybe like literally romancing
the story
the
is
story of the home,
Yeah.
and kind of like to your point, Rock, like asking the sellers, what was it that made this home special for
made
you?
fall in love.
I made you fall in love.
I love that.
Yeah.
So I think that would definitely be great.
I like that.
Obviously, we have open house riders, so that's attached to the sign. We have directionals, and we put a lot of directionals out. So like at every street corner, and we have little flags that come up, so they're really appealing to the eye.
And we are getting the riders with the QR codes on it
Yes.
that our lender is going to be providing.
Yeah.
Where if you are just driving by, and you could say text this to this number, and you can get instant information. If there is an open house coming up, that'll be included in the info that you get the text message from. So that's really important, because there's not many agents that do that, but if you're just driving by, or you're visiting a friend or a family member, you wanna live there, you see this house, you get the info real quick, and then we can help you.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too, especially with, COVID and related, so number one is the agent has to do a live, IG live, recording prior to the open house. So we normally arrive at our open house 20 minutes prior. We door knock so that we can let the neighbors know, invite them over. Also, so it's a potential of meeting new client, right? That's, you know, just introducing ourselves. And then from there, we record. We go on Instagram, we're all very comfortable on social media and recording, it's our platform. And then also for people that don't feel comfortable leaving the house. So it's great, they can log into Zoom, click the Zoom link, it's directly on Zillow or directly from the MLS, and it's like a meeting. And then from there, we start the actual open house. The open house starts, everyone right now, what I love about the situation right now with COVID is that it's by appointment only. So you have to come in, it has to be like a showing because it can't be considered an open house. So we have 10 to 12, right? How long do we typically do open houses?
I usually do them 12 to 2
Okay.
or 11 to 1.
Okay, so say 11 to 1, and then we have the people come through, and then it's based by appointment, right? So 15 minutes appointment, and then what's the requirement? 2 family?
2 potential buyers and then the realtor. That's the max amount allowed in a home at one time.
Okay.
And then from there, we're capturing every client that walks through their information, we're putting it directly into Keller Command. So for those of you who are not part of Keller Williams, there's an incredible database that we have. It's linked to everything, and we'll go into that in another episode. Every single person's information is inputted into the system so that we're doing as much paperless as possible.
Yeah.
So no one's signing in, writing their names. And then instead of handing out flyers, again, we have the code where we get to text the client back. Why that's important as sellers, you want to know that everyone walking through is getting all the information they need about the property.
Yeah.
And then of course, we're doing a follow-up right after, within 2 hours, to let the seller know all the feedback of the open house. And then the next day, we follow up with all the buyers that were interested so that we can understand if they have any objections or anything of the sort.
Yeah.
So another thing that is also a major plus is that we're actually going to have individual customized landing pages for every single property. So you will actually have, any seller will have their own literally website, essentially,
Absolutely.
link to their home. And so essentially, we will send you that link whenever we post it and it goes live, so that they can reshare with their friends, their family, online, whoever you want to. And so on that landing page, it will have pictures of the home, it'll have information about the home, it's gonna be super interactive. And the great thing is that we're gonna be resharing it in all of our ads as well as all the marketing that we're doing. And then if anyone is interested in it, they'll actually be able to fill out all of their information straight on that website. And then we get notified saying, hey, there's someone interested in this property. And I think landing pages is literally everything.
So we'll talk a little bit more about those things with Nino on a different day with marketing, but I think that's it for open houses right now. Thank you all for joining. If you like what you saw today, be sure to like, subscribe, or share. And then if you want to be added to our newsletter or just to find out what's going on, be sure to visit the website at liveloveartemis.com. And as always, be sure to live fully, give selflessly, and serve authentically, guys. Have a great day.
Bye.
That was great.
Perfect.
And now we're going to go over.
I'm gonna go see Kat.
And then